Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of ETA's new podcast entitled Rerouting. Before we kick things off, we just want to give you a little more background about who we are. Send ETA is the creative society where creatives, culture, and community connect. We're currently based in New York, but we'll be expanding to Miami to continue throwing events, building brands, and showing up for creatives who are at every stage of their journey. But in the midst of us working towards our own dreams and putting on amazing events for all of you guys, we understand the importance of taking a second to pause. So now we're pulling up a chair ourselves to start thinking out loud with you. The Rerouting podcast is for every creative who ever needed to take a pause, catch their breath, and remember why they started in the first place. Because sometimes the only way forward is to lean on your people and reroute. So get your favorite bev, your current project that you're working on, or just your headphones, because we're here to nourish your mind and have some real conversations about what it means to be a creative in today's day and age. Boom. So now we got the formalities out of the way. We have to introduce ourselves and our positions at ETA to give you guys a little more context, but we don't want you to feel like this is about to be a rigid conversation. We're going to have fun and get to the essence of what the topic of today is, which is who gets to be a creative. So I'll kick off the introductions. My name is Gabby. I'm creatively known as Riella, and here at ETA, I'm one of the co-founders and the director of partnerships. And now I'm going to hand it over to Miriam.
Hi everyone, my name is Miriam Tagan and I'm the Programs Operations Manager here at ETA.
Hi everyone, my name is Brenda and I am Community Partnerships Manager for ETA.
And the best for last. Hi everyone, my name is Nick. And I had to just say that. I had to. And I'm PR and outreach coordinator for Sanjay ETA.
Yes, humble as ever. We love that. Um, I'm kidding. But the first question that we're gonna ask, which is really the only one that feels kind of stuffy, is just to give you guys more background on who we are as creatives. Because we know that creativity doesn't develop in a vacuum at all. So, what would you guys say sparked the start of your creative journey? Were there any organizations, initiatives, or activities that you were involved in that made you feel like, hold on, like I'm kind of killing it as a creative and want to continue down this path?
Honestly, I can get started first with that because I love talking about
Hmm.
this. I went to school in a PWI business school. I was only doing finance, and I feel like a big part of like my creativity was dying. So I was like, okay, what do we do to spark it up?
Hmm.
I ended up becoming vice president of the African Student Association and founder and president of the Albanian Student Organization. And I started throwing events with 1,000 plus people there. We signed Rema as like the first Afrobeats artist at our PWI. So I feel like that's how it all started for me.
One thing I learned about Brenda very quickly is that she knows how to have a good time. Okay. Like before I even knew her for real, I think I met her like on a rooftop or something. And Pat was like, oh, like Brenda's cool people. You should connect with her. And I'm like, okay, bet. No, Brenda is really cool people. She knows what music she wants to listen to. She knows like exactly what the DJ should be doing. So yeah, I could naturally see like how your start got you to where you are today.
I appreciate that.
Of course.
No, naturally. I like can second that because every time the vibe is like going semi down, like Brenda's the one who's like to bring it exactly right back up. And I'm
Yes.
just like super, I love that vibe. Like you're definitely the vibe setter here.
Hmm.
I guess if I could take a stab at the question, I feel like my creative journey started when I was like, I want to say like five. I was just like in dance classes. I started off with like ballet, modern contemporary, like dance classes. And I feel like I liked being on stage, but I also wanted to just like do the production of it. Like, what does it look like getting them to the stage? What does it look like with person doing lights and whatnot? And so I started doing a little bit of my own shows, like in high school and like getting into college and stuff like that. And that got me into like event planning. And I feel like that also sparked a bit of an entrepreneurial vibe of like, oh, like you can really just create the scene that you want to see.
Yeah.
And so I would say, I mean, I guess we can probably go into it like later on as like we continue the series or like continue this like the like this podcast, but I feel like that's really what started like my creative journey. Like I like being on stage, but I also want to be the one who organizes who's on stage as well. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
What does that
Yeah.
balance between being the organizer and the performer or dancer look like for you now?
I feel like I learned to take a step back because like, if you're the performer, you have to be able to take direction, take feedback. Like sometimes my form isn't right, and I feel like that taught me a lot about like not like taking critique and being
Mhm.
okay with that. And then when you are the one who's organizing, I feel like you have to be very empathetic to the people who are on stage and
Mhm.
recognize that like if the spotlight is not on you, like you have to be a bit more careful with how you're communicating like what you want because these are the people who are creating the scene that you want. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like
So
I
true.
feel like it's taught me a lot of like adaptability going
Mhm.
back and forth. Like you have to switch roles and be okay with it.
Mhm. That's so
Yeah.
real. I'm glad you brought up the point about the grace that you should be approaching critique and communicating with artists with because it wasn't until I started creating or considering myself a creative that I realized how vulnerable the process of bringing something to fruition is when you're
Mhm.
doing it from a true place of like wanting to express yourself or your experiences or authenticity. Like, how am I going to tell a dancer or I don't know, a painter or a producer that this song that they made or this art piece that they created, I need it to be hyper and happier when maybe the place that they're creating it from was deep sadness or depression or like heartbreak or something like that. So needing it's definitely a skill to be able to communicate what you need. Um, but you also have to acknowledge that this is a person who's likely creating from their personal experiences. So, yeah. And I grew up like dancing, bro, really doing everything. Like I danced, I played sports, like I did different things in school. So, for a while, the creative endeavors that I was involved in, even though there were a lot of them, I looked at them more so as like things on a checklist. Like, okay, boom, this is what I'm going to do throughout my week. Boom, 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 boom. But it wasn't until after graduating from college and moving to New York where I feel like I started creating from more of a place of vulnerability and I had to open myself up more and be more courageous to explore new things like making music or DJing because it's one thing to create in the comfort of your room, but it's another to also perform what you are creating and potentially open yourself up to other people's perceptions and what they have to say about you. So, yeah, I've always been involved in the arts, but I more recently started considering myself a creative when I wanted to be more audacious with it. And
Yeah.
last but not least, again, Lakan, you could
No,
take the floor.
I love when you guys just speak because I think I'm trying to tie in like my experiences maybe a little bit with Miriam's because I also used to dance like when I was very little.
Mhm.
I had this drama troupe and so I had a little bit of an upbringing in Ghana. We
Wait,
had
that's a fun fact. I never knew that.
yeah, so actually another fun fact, there was this choreography we did for this song. It's a Ghanaian song called I Am a Shorty I Won.
Mhm.
Girl that I did the choreography with, she was like, she sent me the photo of us when we were like really young.
We
Of
need to post that.
Yeah,
like,
that's the cover.
Yeah.
like that's crazy. So I used to dance as a kid, and I think that's where like my creativity sparked. Like it was more drawing because I loved like drawing and painting. I remember telling my mom I want to do like drawing, and she told me we had like a lesson teacher, and she was like, "Hey, he said he wants to do drawing. Could you show him how to like paint?" And I started doing painting. She bought me watercolors, and that didn't stick. But you know, maybe it's for maybe it's for the best. And
Yeah.
then dancing too was an art form and then from dancing, you know, just trying my hands in different things. Because I think when we talk about creativity, it's much more about like expression and how you think about like expressing yourself in different fields. And it's also about trying out different things. I still, you know, this might be a very touchy subject. I still don't consider myself a creative because I'm trying to figure out what that is per se. Like I know I have creative talents.
Mhm.
I don't know if I would put on the hat and say like creativity, like I'm a creative because I feel like nowadays it's more like it's like a keyword, like a flash word. You see people, oh, what do you do? I'm a creative. And it's like, you're not a creative, you're a seamstress, you're a tailor. And there's nothing wrong with being a tailor. It's absolutely amazing. But when you say I'm a creative, you try and put yourself in that blanketed term where it's like you want people to perceive you a specific type of way, um,
Hmm.
saying what it is you actually do. So like when people say, oh, I'm a DJ, I'm a painter, I'm a photographer, people would rather put it under the blanketed term of like I'm a creative. And it sounds more like, oh, you're a creative,
Hmm.
that's cool. So I'm still trying to figure out what my niche is in creativity. But for me, I think what sparked my interest is kind of similar to what Miriam said in terms of like dancing and drawing and art. I love the arts heavily. So
Hmm.
that's my
That's beautiful. You bring up a good point though about how the word creative is very expansive and means something different to everybody. It probably means something different to all of us on the call too. So just hearing you describe that, I'm like, okay, that's not really how I think of what being a creative is. So I'm curious to know how you guys are defining who is a creative or who gets to be a creative.
okay. So before we start, right,
Hmm.
I saw this and I want to broadly put it in terms of like creative, if we're talking about creativity, right?
Yeah.
Would you say a painter or someone that designs is a creative?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you say someone who acts is a creative?
I
Yes.
would.
Okay. Would you say someone who performs surgery is a creative?
No.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't because that's like more routine to
Okay,
Yeah.
me.
now hear
And
me
there's an
out.
art to that, but
Now hear me out. In surgery, when you get prepped for surgery, where do you go to? You go to the
Hospital,
no, yeah, but the room that you're going to be in is a
operating room.
yeah, it's a theater. You're the oh, you're he's in the
Oh,
operating theater, right? The
mhm,
surgeon would have people around him. Sometimes they might be like let me say like
he's performing surgery.
yeah, he's perform but isn't that a performance in itself?
I
Isn't that
don't feel like
art?
it.
it's
When I think
different to
about
me.
I yeah, for me when you make that reference, I think about like dancing. And this might be a controversial take, but
Mhm. Bring the hot takes.
I feel like people who choreograph are more of a creative than like people who dance. Because people who dance, you can go to a dance class and I can teach you a dance that I choreographed, but
Hmm.
like didn't create that. My definition of a creative, to answer Gabby's question, is someone who creates something.
Hmm.
And I guess dancers can make like general dancers who follow choreography can make the argument that like you are creating movement, but it's movement that someone else thought about.
Hmm.
I mean, like I feel like that, like he's performing in the case of a surgeon, like they're performing a procedure that was taught to them. There might be some nuance in terms of like the method that they're using or the technique that they're using to do like the stitches or whatever, but like it's generally a thought practice, a taught practice.
Well, my thing is he has an audience and he's performing a form of art. Sometimes it's a novel idea. Like Ben Carson, shout out Ben Carson, like going through that the separation of like a Siamese twin. Like that to me, I think if something has not been done before and you undergo doing it and creating that process and then mapping that is also like being creative, right?
I think that's innovative. I
Hmm.
don't think that's creative.
Oh,
Creativity.
so
Okay.
maybe innovation versus
Creativity.
Hmm.
Let's write that down. Let's write that under.
Yes.
so that's a good one. That's a good one. Because I also think like we stuck creativity to only the arts, but it could be like way more than that. Like when we think of like I was reading the what I think it was Gabby who sent it. She sent the article about creativity and mating in sexual preferences. And I
Hmm.
was looking through it, and one of the authors that was quoted from it was going back to saying they were talking about how sometimes with creativity people see it as like much more of like a self-expression and the arts. But I was thinking like ad executives will also be seen as like creative directors because they create all these arts, but it's also like capitalistic in a way, and not to go much more into capitalism, but they're also seen as like creative directors.
Hmm.
And like I don't think an ad sometimes is like creative. I think the people who work on like the backdrop of like creating the set and the actors in it like are
Hmm.
the creators, but these ad executives have the title of like chief creative director.
Yeah. I'm sensing that there's a difference or a potential hierarchy in how we're looking at creatives, depending on if you're the person who had that idea and you take it from idea to reality versus if you're the person who gets the idea or gets the framework and you just execute it and perform it. And it could even be done to perfection, but did it come entirely from you? And that's
Yeah.
something that I've been thinking about because I believe that one of my greatest creative skill sets is creative thinking. And before, I felt like a true creative had to be somebody who had the idea and then they went out and bought all these supplies and then they did everything all the way from the start to the finish, potentially even by themselves. So that kind of subconsciously gave more authority in the creative world from my perception to the painters, the choreographers, like the people who do this and that. But there's also people like me who I could yap about an idea. I could be like, look at a business or look at a person and be like, oh, you should do this, this, and this is how you could take yourself to the next level. And this would be a great shoot to design and script out something. But I want to hand it over to you and the team and y'all get it done. I'll give you the roadmap and you take that and run with it. But not everybody can even conceptualize the idea. And that brings the point of like why collaborators are important too, because sometimes you might not be able to think of everything yourself or do everything yourself. Do whether it's the choreography, like the choreographer, yes, they're amazing, but they need the dancers too to bring their vision to life in the best way possible. The surgeon can't do it by themselves. They need the person who's gonna pass them the scalpel and the anesthesiologist and all these other people. So yeah, it's just making me think about how creativity, again, is not happening in a vacuum. And because of that, like, I don't want to put limitations on it and make it seem like only the people who think of the idea and do every single little thing are the ones who are the most creative. Like, there's a bunch of different ways that you could go about it. And a lot of those ways require, like, you to be in community with other people.
Yeah. I agree with that. I agree. I agree with that. I think the analogy that I brought up with dancing, I feel like it's a bit more simplified
Hmm.
relative to the other projects that, for example, we on ETA have worked on. Like I still hold the opinion that like if you choreograph, like you're more of a creative, and I agree that it might be controversial. But I do think that like for example, when like our team comes up with an idea and like we're all in different committees and we're all executing based off of like the particular perspective that we're supposed to be adding, I do think that there's there's a lot of there's a lot of leeway in which creativity can be produced. What I mean by that is like, for example, for the So You Think You're a Creative podcast, like that was an idea that the team came up with. And then like marketing came up with like a whole like video that was produced and like put that out, and like we had actors that was there as well. Like that wasn't someone thought of the idea, but like the way it was executed, whoever came up with like the list of questions and then like the execution of like the actual event when we're there, like people were creating within their own respective like niches. And so in terms of a project that's as complex as that, like there were so many different ways of execution that put it all together, like put a whole event together. I feel like something like performing, there's creativity there to bring a vision to life. I just think that it's a bit more simple. I want
Hmm.
to I want to argue. I'm open to critique.
No, no,
Yeah.
I like this point that you brought up, Miriam. So in this idea of like collaboration, right? Who then gets to be, who do you see as a creative? And the people who put together the video, the people who edited it, the actors who were there, who were told exactly what lines to say, and maybe they added. who would you consider as like a creative in that whole process or this whole process?
I feel like it was the creative director, the person who came up with the script, the
That's
videographer.
the main, that's the
No,
only.
no, no. I think there's multiple creatives within that. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I feel like with putting on between dancers and choreographers, the choreographer is the main creative. But if we're putting on a show, there's a choreographer, and then you have like the people who are doing like the
The
production,
lighting.
lighting, and whatnot. Like all of them are creatives because they're putting together, like that becomes a bigger project. You know what I mean? Like I feel like when we look at it in terms of like this is the idea that was created and this is what was produced on a small scale between dancer and choreographer, the choreographer is the creative. But when it comes to putting on that choreography on like a grander scale, like oh, this is a production, then there becomes like a group of creatives who are putting on together a production and people who are executing.
Okay, I like that idea, but I want to say I want to agree to disagree, and I don't know how you guys feel about it because I also think if we're saying creativity is like a form of self-expression, if someone teaches me a dance and I dance it, or someone choreographs a dance and I dance it, and I dance it in such a passionate way, I am expressing myself
Mm,
in a way.
yeah.
So that's still creative expression.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, for example, in high school, I was a part of a team where we had like this one piece. It was by Prince. I forgot. It was like I forgot the song, but we had this piece where it was like passed down by from like choreographer to choreographer, and like the person who had the most passionate way of expressing that dance became the lead dancer. So in that case, it's like yeah, like it's the same choreography, but maybe this person has
Yeah.
a
It looks different on different
it
bodies.
looks different on different bodies. So I
Mhm.
can understand what you're saying. And yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. For
Brenda, I
sure.
want to hear your thoughts on all this because I feel
Yes.
No, I
Yes.
think I like you just made me think about that. I was like, oh yeah, like I guess she is a creative because she executed that same dance that's like passed down from choreographer to choreographer in a totally different way.
And that light just shines on her. Like
It
I did
literally
dance it
did.
for a while, but I was not that girl. Like I was not the one
Oh
who
yeah.
I could do the moves, but it was other people who was just like, oh, like, yes, you got
The way
it, you know?
she did it. Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Exactly.
Brenda, do you have any thoughts to share before we move on to the next topic?
And that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna add to what Lakon is saying because yes, obviously as a choreographer, like that is your vision and that's you're expressing yourself creatively and you're coming up with something in a project. But at the same time, you wouldn't be able to teach that to every single one because not everybody can be a dancer. So
Hmm.
technically, even those dancers, they are creatives because a lot of other people wouldn't be able to do the same thing that they're doing.
Hmm. I agree with that. And to Brenda's point, that gets to the essence of the revelation I recently had about creativity. At its base level, to me, it's innate. It's like a very natural desire that cannot be taught, where something burning within you is making you say, I want to do this thing to the
Yeah.
best of my ability. And because you're so committed to that, you inevitably do it in a way that nobody else could do it. Like y'all could have the same idea for a song, or y'all could do the same thing with surgery based on the way that you're being taught, but like because of you and all the lived experiences that you've had and the perspective that you bring and who you are as a person, you're going to do some things differently. And if you are committed to bringing that desire to life, no matter the types of circumstances or roadblocks that you face, I think that that's what makes you a creative because we could all be doing the same dance and we bring something new to it,
Yeah.
and that can't be faked. So,
maybe this is a sign that we need to start like a ETA dancing camp or something. Maybe.
Honestly, let's do it. We can start hosting dance
yo,
workshops.
we need our signature dance moves. How do y'all feel about a flash mob? Like I low-key always wanted to do that.
I love those. I
I
love
love this.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially in like a
You're
middle of
part of it.
Yeah.
If you're just a spectator, sometimes you're just looking like, who are these people? Like, just,
no guys, like we literally did it for one of the events that we did, but like it has to be like in the middle of like a party, like everyone's lit and then you play a song and everyone's like, oh, like, and then
Oh yeah.
we got a group of 9 people. right there. They got their whole choreography. It brings it like people love it. It just has to be
Yeah.
well timed.
We should have done
Yeah.
that for the year anniversary party.
No, yeah,
Bit
that would
of
have been kind. I saw a video of somebody doing that. I think it was in LA, and it was like they were breakdancing and everything. It really gave. So
mhm.
I agree with the party scenario, not the train though.
Not the
I hate
yeah.
every single
But
time I see performers on the train because I'm scared they're gonna kick me. Now, if you're drumming or you could sing, like okay, I
yeah.
can tolerate that. But the dance train is too congested for a flash mob. No.
No, but that is art too on its own. Come on, let's talk about it.
Hmm.
Let's,
Yeah.
I
Because
think
they have the courage to put themselves out there too, and they're performing even if there's not necessarily an audience or energy to feed off of. Because sometimes people end up creating because they know everybody else is going to jack it and their followers are going to like it and people are going to glaze them for it. But if you're performing and people just deadpan staring at you or not even giving you like the energy that you need, like you're a true
You
creative.
see,
You got
I
it.
know, but this goes back to like I feel like I still have a point. Like I agree with Lekon, and I like like I yield to him, but like imagine those people who are creating based off of like trends that they saw and they're just doing the same thing, just trying to get views. Like, is that creativity? Like, I'm just like I just don't. If you're just
this,
following something, sometimes I feel like
It
I
can
just find
get
that
repetitive.
hard.
Like I see what you're saying because it's like the same thing with like the TikTok trends and like TikTok
Get
dances.
into it, like the renegade
Every
dance,
right,
and
like
then
that.
that white girl
Already
stole
was
it.
so done, respectfully.
Like, is
Hmm.
that now creative? Like, we're just gonna call everyone who makes the videos creative now. I'm just
Right.
like,
yeah,
this.
could I just slide in my Substack
Hmm.
article that I
Absolutely.
about this in terms of like the algorithm since showing you two different things from two different creators. One
Hmm.
person does it first, and then the other does it. And this is like actually why we created this platform for to kind of like discuss that and further that. I think sometimes the only issue or problem comes when one person tends to like get much more like monetize something that was created by someone or the
Hmm.
original creator than the original creator themselves. So like in the case of like was there Addison Rae, doing
Hmm.
that dance
And
and going
Yeah,
on
and
yeah,
Jalea Harmon, I think her name is the
yeah,
black girl.
getting all these accolades. I'm sorry, I don't even remember the original creator's name, but I know Addison Rae was on Jimmy
right.
Kimmel.
She's the one that went viral for it.
Hmm. And now,
Um,
didn't she just perform at the VMAs or the Oscars or something?
yes,
Like
I
she's
think
an
so.
Yeah, she's
artist
a
now.
singer now.
Yeah.
So it's like it could be a stepping stone. And I think also TikTok is like a large plagiarism platform. Because I don't know if you guys are seeing what is happening now. Like you could use AI to take somebody's video and then just recreate it and do the same thing and post it on your page. And it's like, where is the originality there?
Yeah.
Hmm. It's not. It's
But
not, but it goes to show creativity is not occurring in a vacuum because once you put it out there, there are things to gain by stealing or by taking somebody else's idea or by copying and pasting. So it gets real political in the creative world too, which is why when you said, "Oh, I don't want to talk about capitalism and stuff," I understand, but those are things that matter. Like you can't just live off of vibes and passion too. We got to make money. And if I'm not making money from my
Yeah.
creative talents, like, does that make me
How
less
much
of a
longer?
creative?
Yeah.
Those are
Mm.
things to consider. But y'all, it's our first episode. We only got 4 minutes left on this Zoom. So we're going to get to the rest of the things on the agenda, but put a pin in this conversation and turn it over to the audience. Let us know how you feel about the relationship between monetizing your creative talents and passions and just doing it for the love of the game. People copying and pasting what you have going on. Definitely go check out that Substack article on our page, which delves into it a little bit more. But yes, we do have a couple other things on our agenda that I want to get through. So let's reroute quickly. Y'all see what I did there?
Mhm.
Exactly. Um, and one thing that's going to set our podcast apart is sharing a resource of the day every single day. So we found a $20,000 grant for creators who are interested in traveling. It's due on April 30th and it's called Safety Wings 20K Creator Residency Program. It's for creators who want to travel the world and create content to capture their memories. And you don't even have to write an essay. Like if you do, You can apply in one of three ways. You either submit a video that's less than 4 minutes, or you write an essay that's less than 1,000 words, or you show them a presentation that's less than 12 slides. All of these, the topic is something that's really easy to talk about, which is telling them where you want to travel and why. So that is our resource for you guys of the day. If you have like traveling on your spirit or you like to create content and want to delve into something new, definitely apply for that opportunity. We also wanted to shout out the creative of the week who we highlighted on our Instagram, which is at Sendra ETA. You can find us there on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Substack. But one of the artists of the week is Wisdom Warner, and he works at the intersection of fashion, commercial photography, and fine art. His practice is built on a single belief drawn from John 10, verse 34, which his grandfather passed to him, which says, "We are gods." Every image he creates is designed to be felt before it's understood. He works between concept and camera, building visual systems that are commercially grounded and emotionally unmistakable. That is quite the introduction. Shout out to our marketing team for highlighting him in our most recent Black Art of the Week post. That's kind of like the cool content that we have posted across our socials, so definitely stay tapped in with us. In the last minute, yeah, thanks for tuning in to our first episode. I did want to post check with you guys. Like, do you have anything left that you want to say or get off your chest before we wrap up our conversation?
I don't think so, but I want to hear what people have to say in the comments.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to side with Miriam more than me, but
You think so? I feel like no. I feel like I was
I
controversial. I feel like they're probably siding with you. We'll see.
I don't know. I think we did a good job of like kind of like branching out and expanding on the idea of like what it means to be a creative.
Mhm.
And it's because creativity is multidisciplinary, but it's also like a form of expression. So I think it's I don't know, it's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to reading the comments and seeing what people think about that.
Yes. Obviously, this conversation needs to be continued. So y'all tune in, comment, support so we can get the full Zoom plan and have longer podcasts than 40 minutes. All right, y'all. Have a good night. We'll talk later. Bye.
Night.